Hello, everybody. What up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? What up, everybody else? This is kind of a impromptu video, a follow up for yesterday because some shit's been playing on my mind. I just wanted to get it out of my head and talk about it and just kind of leave it at that. Yesterday, I posted a video where I was talking about the Michael Jackson documentary, Finding Neverland, and apparently the fallout from that. And, while trying to make it clear that I had not seen the documentary and what I had felt about it, I feel, kind of like actually a sense of remorse and guilt now for making that and talking about it and not really putting things into context and to be fair, making a mistake and not doing enough research beforehand and really digging into it. And this is not really an excuse, but a reason why I did that. And it was mainly because of a tweet from a man named Ethan Klein from H3 Productions, who basically, he had two separate tweets that were very, very strong worded and very pro the documentary and very up on the documentary and saying that it was factual and the documentary basically turned his opinion completely toward the side of Michael Jackson was a pedophile, no questions in his mind. And apparently, through seeing those two tweets and then following up with the fallout throughout the media and everything else that has basically taken this documentary as solid gospel and fact and ran with it and is basically now, I guess, in the throes of, beating down a dead man and beating down his legacy and destroying everything that Michael Jackson ever did for music, the arts, the world. And that's just basically what is happening now as far as I can tell. People are having their way with it, of course, just basically going out and making jokes about pedophilia, raping kids, sexually molesting kids, even so far as to seeing from another creator today, he used an app to put Michael Jackson's face on his and talked about raping kids and fucking kids and all this good stuff. And everybody's having a good old laugh about it. And a laugh at Michael Jackson's expense. Once again, a dead man. A man who's not here to defend himself or anything like that. And I feel ashamed and, more or less very conflicted and angry about the choice to actually foster or promote any of that ideology in any small way, shape, or form. Bearing in mind that I tried to leave it, basically to where I wasn't convinced. And, after seeing some of the rebuttal videos from a man named Razorfist that was suggested to me by a person named Jesse Keller, one of my friends or whatever, and a fellow artist on my Facebook feed, I pretty much stand, firmly on the ground now that Michael Jackson never did, molest kids. He never did harm children. He never did any of this to kids. And as a matter of fact, he was, probably as philanthropic as he could be to children and people and families and did the best he could. You're talking about a person who had thousands of children. To my knowledge, he had thousands of kids coming in and out of Neverland and around him and surrounding him throughout his lifetime and his career. And only, maybe three accusers ever came forward. And in Razorfist's video, he does point out that the claims that one accuser was going to come forward and then a mountain of accusers were going to come forward and indict Michael Jackson or put him on trial or do whatever, which never happened. He was never, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm aware, apparently he was never tried in a criminal court. He always faced civil charges or whatever. Regardless, either way, I am wholly and completely sold by watching the two videos, the rebuttals of, for Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson rebuttals from Razorfist, that I am completely sold on the fact now that not only was he not a pedophile, but the pervasive, enormous amount of culture that wants to demonize him is disturbing. And the popular media and companies and stuff like that want to sell you on the fact that he was a pedophile is disturbing. And the reason why I guess this touches me so deeply as it may some of you is because this is something, once again, I'm going to reaffirm that this is something that we as a nation have been hearing for like 20 something years now. This has been something that's been going on for years and years and years. And people conveniently leave out the facts of how basically defamed and disproven his accusers were. And bearing in mind that this documentary and this whole shit is coming out well after the man's death, and these accusers apparently in the documentary and stuff like that, which I still have not seen, and I don't know if I even care to see it, because there's plenty of other documentaries claiming the same facts or claiming the same things, that they have proof, they have facts, and I don't even know if they have proof or facts inside the documentary. And that goes to stand, goes to the further point of now, because of this, and I hate to say this, but my faith in Ethan Klein and H3 Productions and everything like that has been completely shaken. It was a person that I did trust their opinion, and I know that's stupid of me to do. That's a mistake in general to trust somebody, but given Ethan Klein's track record, I had no reason to really doubt. He always seemed like a very reasonable and conscious man of factual things, at least. He seemed like a defender of facts over outrage or public opinion or something like that. But now it just seems like he's being sucked up in this horde of this is solid proof and this is whatever. And I cite the Razorfist rebuttals because they, provide tons of citation, evidence, and facts and proof to the contrary, showing exactly why these people are, probable liars and should not be trusted at their word, as to say that, this happened, and just, okay, well, yeah, Michael Jackson was a pedophile just because you said so. Where's all the evidence of proof in their regards? Where's all the evidence of proof that they have? That's my question. I mean, because there's a ton of evidence, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to base this on factual things that I'm seeing from this person, a catalog of facts that were, court documents and video, evidence, phone recordings from the father of one of the accusers, stuff like that. I mean, this is bullshit. This is fucked up. And I mean, it's fucked up that, this is something we're still talking about even well after the man's death. And it's fucked up that something like this can be taken, and just blown up by the media, and they're just using it to dismantle his legacy when, has there even been a trial or proof or anything, or anybody taking this to the courts for his estate and stuff like that? And I mean, it even goes so far to explain the mistakes that Michael Jackson made himself in settling these cases for, which Razorfist points out, a very small sum, like $20 million to him. It seems like a lot to us, as he said, but I mean, to Michael Jackson, that was nothing at the time. That was a drop in the hat just to move on and get his career going and get past it. And it's something that apparently happened throughout the entirety of Michael Jackson's life. If somebody wasn't trying to get him on one accusation, it was trying to get him on another. And that's what they've always said, and I mean, it's just fucked up. And I mean, I know that I'm probably going to face a lot of blowback from this if people see it and people cite it and reference it. And I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off at me for denying that he was a pedophile and stuff like that. But, that's the whole thing, is I don't see the mountain of proof. I don't see the evidence to the contrary outside of words and public opinion that is being apparently taken off the fucking rails now, and people are just running with it and saying, oh, this is fact, he's a pedophile, he's a pedophile. I mean, you're not, well, where's your goddamn proof? Where's the fucking proof? Where's the citations? Where's the proof of the accountability of these people? And that goes even further to say that I think people need to be more aware now, and people need to be more aware now than ever of people using, false claims of being a victim to gain sympathy and shit like that. I mean, there are real victims in the world, but there are people out there who are just as willing to lie about things to get popularity, money, fame, other things. And they don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck whose lives they ruin and whose legacies they ruin and whatever. And all of us are just a hairs away from being on the other side of allegations that aren't true. And I mean, I think with Ethan Klein, I think he would be appreciative of that fact, considering that he's faced, allegations of him being something that he wasn't before. And I think, furthermore, anybody in the public eye and with popularity such as his and his wife's and other, YouTube creators and stuff like that should be appreciative of the fact that anybody could come out the woodwork at any time and make up false allegations. And just because they're not on the popularity level of a Michael Jackson as of yet, or possibly ever, I don't know if anybody can reach that amount of popularity over time. But that doesn't mean one day they won't be, and doesn't mean one day they won't be on the other side of that, where it's like people are dismantling you. I mean, especially after you're dead, people are going to sit there and dismantle your legacy and everything you left behind, and it's all gone. Like your entire life's work, your entire catalog is there. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of the seriousness we need to come at this with is, you're fucking basically taking years and years and years of contributions to the arts and you're throwing it away over the accusations of people who can't be trusted and over people who are gaining profit off of this pedophile story. And that's what I'm saying too. The creators of Leaving Neverland and stuff like that, if they really are philanthropic, I think most, if not the majority of their profits should be turned over to organizations for sexual abuse victims, for children of molestation. I think the accusers should funnel their profits from this DVD, from this documentary to survivors of sexual abuse programs and child abuse programs and stuff like that. If their true intentions are there, or at least a fraction of their profits or a cut of their profits or something. They're pocketing the money. They're keeping the money. They're not giving it back to anybody. They're not giving it back to any kind of, survivors or whatever. And as far as I'm aware, one of the accusers already got a payout, didn't he? Didn't they already get payouts long ago? Ain't these the same fucking people that already got settlements and stuff like that, and they've already got their money, which, I said it before, and I said it to a friend the other day when she was commenting on this, and I'll say it again. No amount of money in the world would be able to soothe my pain if I was a survivor of sexual abuse. I don't think any amount of money in the world, if my abuser is sitting there in court and I have the chance to take money or take his ass to jail, I think I'm going to try to take his ass to jail, right? I guess to each victim is their own. I mean, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, if the trauma and the sexual pain, or the traumas of sexual abuse were so deep, I just don't understand why you would take a payout over prosecution into a criminal court and getting him locked up forever. Like, I'm going to take the money and allow him to keep going and molesting kids and destroying people's lives, but I'm going to take the money, and I have the chance to sit there and lock him up forever. Now, bearing in mind, I know that the other case you can say is that, okay, let's go ahead and just, try to see the other perspective where you can say, okay, well, he was an extremely powerful person and he could cover this up. He had the money, the power, and the influence to cover this up. Okay, granted, we'll argue that fact. But but that's the whole thing, is that, like, with conspiracy, there has to be the person, the conspirator, and then everybody else who's in on the conspiracy. And it's like, everybody saw evidence of his drug abuse, openly admitted that he showed signs of, being on drugs and stuff like that, that he, had symptoms and signs publicly of drug abuse. He couldn't cover that up and hide that from everybody. And yet these same people never saw examples of pedophilia. They never saw the examples of him being a pedophile or any kind of evidence and stuff like that. And, Razorfist even goes into showing that they went and they ran with a story that had no factual evidence, like that there was this ton of child pornography uncovered at Neverland and all this stuff. Put that out on the media, everybody circulated it, and by the time the facts came out, which there was no pedophilia, pedophilic materials and shit like that found there. There was no child pornography found there. You come back to it and it's like they found absolutely nothing, but by that point, the public opinion had taken it and made it fact. They made it factual evidence and stuff like that, because these news agencies just pump this story out all over the fucking place. And it's ridiculous. But going back to the whole cover-up thing, I mean, you're talking about Michael Jackson. Thousands of people were involved with him over time. Do you not think, well, you know, at this point, do you not think all these other people would be coming out and supporting and validating these claims? Do you not think that they would have evidence? Do you not think that they would have citations? Do you not think that they would sit there and time again? So you're not only calling Michael Jackson a pedophile, you're calling every fucking person who's ever been involved with Michael Jackson legally, whatever, a child rapist. So his daughters, you know, his ex-wife, everybody is a child rapist. Because if Michael Jackson was committing these crimes and these people knew of these crimes and they're covering it up, then therefore they are just as guilty as the pedophile or the sexual abuser. Is that not correct? So if I'm sitting there watching a kid get molested and I don't say nothing about it, I'm just as fucking guilty as the guy molesting the kid, as far as I'm concerned. So it's like all these other people, these thousands of people around, hundreds of people around Michael Jackson throughout the entirety of his life are pedophiles. They're pedophiles and they agree with sexual abuse of children. Just come out and say that. Don't say just Michael Jackson from now on. Say everybody who was ever involved with Michael Jackson, and call them out on Twitter, Facebook, social media. Call them out and accuse them too, because they were in on it. I mean, they would have to be in on it for him to cover this up and it to be true. And I just don't feel in my heart of hearts and in my soul, I don't feel it's true. I don't feel that the case has proven anything otherwise. And I feel like the huge mountain of evidence against these people with these accusations is enormous. And it's just fucking factual, like, evidence in the courts of law and stuff like that. Like I said, video citations. It goes on and on and on to show why you can't trust these people. And let alone, we need to stop just, and I mean, I'm not saying victim shame people, but in the same turn, I think we should give the justice system due process to prove that people's allegations are true. To prove that people's allegations are valid and they have proof and they have evidence, and let the due process happen before we start commenting and convicting people before it happens. And this has already been something that has happened and happened again and again and again. And I mean, you know, to be honest with you, I've been on the fence you know, throughout my life, mainly always landing on the fact of, you know, there wasn't proof and he was, you know, not very, you know, he wasn't convicted in a criminal court of law. So something must have been going wrong, or something must have, you know, been right. Something either there was no proof, there was no evidence, there was no chain of command, stuff like that. And I mean, you know, and going back to Bill Cosby, you know, even after years, there was proof and evidence to prove that Bill Cosby did what, you know, what they said he did, and he was locked up for it. They took him to a criminal court. They prosecuted him. I mean, it wasn't just give me a payout and I'm done. You know, that shit didn't happen. So I don't know. And I'm sorry to, you know, the people who are Michael Jackson fans and people for making that video and not, you know, checking facts, not taking time, not thinking clearly, and putting trust in people that shouldn't have had trust put in them. But in, you know, fairness, and the reason for that was I seen that, and then I seen the huge wave of apparent demonizing of Michael Jackson, and I thought, well, apparently there's something in this documentary that is ground shaking and viable and stuff like that. But I doubt it. I doubt that there's anything there that is worth changing my mind or what have you. And as of right now, I'm just gonna, you know, stand by the fact that Michael Jackson, I believe, was innocent, and I believe he never did these things. He never did these crimes. And maybe once I see the documentary, I'll just do a whole completely other shift toward that or whatever. But throughout the entirety of my life, I've been hearing this shit, and nobody's ever solidly convicted him and put him in a fucking jail cell where he should have been if any of this was true and any of the evidence was there. So, I mean, with due respect, you know, that's just the video. And I hope you guys understand, and I love you guys. Try to have a good day, and you take care, okay?